New test scores around the state are leaving education experts concerned. For the second straight year, the pass rate for reading tests dropped among third grade students. A new report from USA Today shows that between 2010 and 2016, Harrisonburg's concentrated poverty has increased by 10%. The man accused of driving his car into a group of counter-protesters at last year's Unite the Right rally. But that decision could still change. But first, let's check in now with meteorologist Francis Payton in the First Alert Weather Center. And Francis, he said it's going to be a pretty hot and humid Labor Day for us. A grand jury report from Pennsylvania detailing sexual abuse from priests in the state. Authorities say more than 1,000 victims have come forward, and the effort of the church to cover up the alleged abuse dates back 70 years. An advisory to parents of little ones: before you strap your child into their car seat, there's a new rule that you need to know about. He believes the goal of the suit is to force a settlement rather than going to trial, but he says even that could take years. A coalition of environmental groups are asking a federal court to review the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission's, or FERC's, approval of the Atlantic Coast Pipeline. Police say a deadly crash in Ohio this weekend involving a man from the Valley remains under investigation. It happened in Vinton County Saturday afternoon. Authorities say Jerry Stout of Harrisonburg crossed the center line of a highway. The car he was driving struck a station wagon. The crash left an Ohio man dead and sent 4 other people, including Stout, to the hospital. In a statement, Kelly called the story total BS and said he and the president have an incredibly candid and strong relationship. The Sadie Rose Foundation in Dayton provides support to grieving parents, and now they've found a way to honor babies who passed away using donations of wedding dresses. But that costs money, taxpayer money, and the county thinks it's time for drug companies to pay up. Chaos at a special school board meeting Thursday night as board members discussed their work to update the district's anti-racism policy. Dozens of people were chanting outside the doors of the meeting to continue their mission of banning Confederate symbols from the dress code and schools. When they were asked to leave, chaos erupted, leaving 6 people walking away in handcuffs. However, the protesters did not stop students from sharing their research about racism in schools and how they hope to make a change. A man is charged in his sister's death after another relative found her dead in an inflatable pool.
So went into Chandler's closet and put everything on.
Could I be wearing any more clothes?
Yes, exactly.
It was more immediate than that. So I said my limbs didn't feel that cold. It's just my whole core was very chilly. Today, September 4th, is National Wildlife Day. Senator Tim Kaine, Republican challenger Corey Stewart, and Libertarian candidate Matt Waters face off in Buena Vista on taxes. Plus, a shooting overnight in Stanton sends one man to the UVA hospital, what we know so far.
With newsrooms across the Shenandoah Valley, this is WHSV TV3 News at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Monica Casey. Bob Grebe has the afternoon off. New at noon, a shooting this morning in Stanton remains under investigation. At around 12:40 this morning, the Stanton Police Department responded to the 900 block of Alta Street for a report of a shooting. Officers located George Joyce, age 34, of Stanton, with multiple gunshot wounds. He was transported to the UVA Medical Center. Police have not told us if there is a suspect in custody. The investigation is ongoing, and anyone with information is asked to call either Stanton Police or Crime Stoppers. A deadly crash in Page County over the weekend leaves a former Rockingham County Sheriff's deputy dead. The sheriff of Frederick County, Virginia, posted on Facebook in response to the tragic loss, urging others to be careful and pay attention to what you're doing, saying life is very short. Randall Hensley, a Frederick County Sheriff's deputy, and his wife Missy were killed in a motorcycle crash in Page County Sunday evening. Hensley was a former deputy with Rockingham County. Police say Hensley and his wife were riding their motorcycle in Luray when they collided with a pickup truck on Route 340 near Battle Creek Road. State police say the driver of the pickup crossed the center line and hit the couple head-on. No charges have been filed. The sheriff of Frederick County writing on Facebook to keep the family and friends in your thoughts, saying both will be missed by so many. A traffic alert in Augusta County. The ramp connecting westbound I-64 with southbound I-81 is scheduled to be closed overnight beginning this evening. The interchange will be closed from 8 p.m. to 7 a.m. through Friday night. VDOT crews will be working to extend the acceleration lane to make it easier and safer for drivers merging onto I-81. During construction, commuters on westbound I-64 who need to go south on I-81 will have to detour onto I-81 north, take exit 222 to Stanton, and then use Route 250 to get back on the interstate. Let's check in now with meteorologist Francis Payton in the First Alert Weather Center. Francis, it's a good day to stay inside, maybe in the air conditioning.
I would say use the AC, maybe keep the water bottle handy, stay well hydrated. It's going to be another hot and humid afternoon. Highs are going to be in the upper 80s to low 90s, and very similar to yesterday where we started off with mostly sunny skies and watch those clouds build into throughout the afternoon. That's exactly what we're experiencing today as well. So as you can see, a few clouds from all four of our Charlie O sky cams at this noon hour. Temperatures very warm as well. Currently in the low to mid 80s. Again, very similar to yesterday afternoon, but currently 85 in Harrisonburg. We have 84 in Moorfield and as well as 85 in Waynesboro. But check out our dew point temperatures. It is just humid. We're looking at our dew point temperatures in the low 70s. Unfortunately, this really isn't budging for the days to come, so you can just expect some hot as well as humid days. However, check out Thursday. Takes a little bit of a dip with dew point temperatures in the low 60s. That's due to a cold front approaching. More details on that coming up later.
Covering Virginia, a man is charged in his sister's death after another relative found her dead in an inflatable pool. Investigators say 51-year-old Ashton Berry is charged in the death of his sister, Angie Walls of Warrenton. The Fauquier County Sheriff says there had been a physical fight at the home where the woman lived. The investigation is ongoing. Around the state, despite a hot and rainy summer, an area orchard says this hasn't affected their orchard experience and say they're ready for their fall season festivities. As summer winds down, Carter Mountain Orchard is finishing up their peach peak season to bring in their apples for the fall. The orchard brings in the fall season with their apple harvest celebration. During this time, people have the chance to walk the trails and pick their own apples from the orchard. The owner of the orchard says they embrace fall traditions and say the seasonal events are a highlight for families in the community.
We have families that come visit us all year long, but the fall is really when people think of Carter Mountain, they think of the fall. They want to take a hay ride, drink apple cider, eat cider donuts, and spend time with their family.
The apple harvest celebration will continue until November. U.S. Senate candidates came to Buena Vista for the annual Labor Day Parade and Festival, and the event provided a rocket start to the fall campaign. Democratic Senator Tim Kaine has been a regular in the Buena Vista Parade over the years, and this re-election campaign was no exception. This year, the crowd that assembled along Magnolia Avenue also met Kaine's Republican challenger Corey Stewart and the Libertarian candidate who would like to beat them both, Matt Waters. The supporters who marched with the candidates in the parade turned up the volume when the politicians gathered for speeches at Glen Morey Park. The candidates sparred over tax reform.
A tax cut that was passed without a single Democratic vote has led to the greatest economic recovery in 50 years. We should not have a tax code that's good for corporations and bad for people. We should not have a tax code that's good for investors and bad for people who bring home wages and salaries. We're adding $1 million a minute to the debt. That is irresponsible. That's irresponsible. It's madness.
Labor Day in Buena Vista is the traditional start of the fall campaign season in Virginia. It also represents the first steps in a race to the finish on November 6th. Around the valley, it's that time again. Up on a Roof is celebrating its 25th year. Starting this morning at 5 a.m., Alan Showalter from King Photo and JR from the radio station WSIG were up on the roof of King Photo. It's all for a great cause. They'll stay on the roof until noon on Friday and will collect monetary donations for the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank.
There's no more basic need, is there, than having enough to eat? So we feel strongly about the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank, and they do such a good job out there.
During their time on the roof, they will have a competition to see who raises the most money by 5 o'clock tonight. Whoever wins gets to come off the roof for an hour. And if you're wondering if they actually stay on the roof the entire time, Showalter has an answer.
Yes, we're really up there all that time, and yes, we're camping up there, and yes, we sleep up there. We come down to use the restroom, the shower, but other than that, we're up on the roof that whole time.
Last year, they had some rain, and Showalter says they're hoping for clearer weather this year, but they'll do whatever it takes. Their goal is to raise enough to provide a minimum of 10,000 meals.